Good morning, it's 9 a.m. in Warsaw and this is World News on TVP World. I'm Marie Cato. Giving victory to Putin is not the way to establish lasting peace, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said in an interview with Axios on Tuesday. Zelenskyy stressed that the Ukrainian people would reject a peace deal that involves turning the Donbas over to Russia. The Ukrainian leader said that it was, quote, not fair for Trump to publicly call on Ukraine and not Russia to make concessions. According to Axios, American mediators have proposed that Ukrainian forces withdraw from the part of the Donbas they currently control and allow for the creation of a demilitarized free economic zone in the area. Zelenskyy says he is prepared to discuss withdrawal from the Donbas, but only if Russia withdraws at the same time. The Ukrainian president also revealed that Kyiv and Washington agreed that the peace agreement must be put to the Ukrainian people in a referendum. 2,000 Ukrainian children have been brought home from Russia, President Volodymyr Zelenskyy said in a post on X. The leader praised his Bring Kids Back initiative and stressed that thousands of Ukrainian children are still held captive by Russia.
Today we have achieved a significant result. 2,000 Ukrainian children have been brought home from under Russia's control through the Bring Kids Back Ukraine initiative. Each of these returns was made possible thanks to the daily efforts of our people, civil society organisations and international partners. We are grateful to everyone who has contributed to this fight for the future of our children, our country and the entire free world. The road ahead remains long and difficult. Thousands of Ukrainian children are still held captive by Russia, becoming victims of its crimes every day. But we will not stop until every Ukrainian child is back home.
Sweden is raising the alarm. Russia has ramped up its hybrid warfare against the country. According to a newly published intelligence report, Moscow is the greatest threat that Sweden currently faces. The report underlines that amid its war against Ukraine, Russia is developing its military capabilities in the strategically important Baltic region. It's also not afraid to use force to achieve its goals. The report predicts the Russian menace will reach its peak by 2030. The chief of Sweden's military intelligence, General Thomas Nielsen, warned that should Russia succeed in negotiating a favorable peace in Ukraine, it would most likely speed up militarization and pose a direct threat to Sweden's neighbors. Protesters have clashed with the police in Belgrade, demanding accountability for the violent crackdown on Novi Sad demonstrators a day earlier. Several anti-government protesters were injured on Monday after clashing with Serbian President Vučić's supporters in Novi Sad. Anti-government demonstrators attempted to block a state event marking the 200th anniversary of Serbia's oldest cultural institute in Novi Sad. Participants say that several men dressed in black kicked, pushed and beat them, while the police initially did not react. The anti-government protest movement, spearheaded by students from Novi Sad, has been gaining popularity for more than a year now. Nationwide anti-corruption protests began in November 2024 after 16 people died in the Novi Sad railway station canopy collapse. Disqualified Ukrainian athlete Vladislav Heraskevich slams the International Olympic Committee for his decision to allow Russia and Belarus to send athletes to next month's Milano Cortina Paralympics, calling the allocation of quotas absurd. Russia will have 2 quota places in para-alpine skiing, 2 in para-cross-country skiing and 2 in para-snowboarding, while Belarus received 4 cross-country skiing slots.
I really hope that also now some Italian parliament and Italian people will also interfere, and I hope that they will also pay attention on that matter, because it's definitely it's a big mistake. These athletes are former soldiers who was part of army who was killing Ukrainians yesterday. Today they will also kill Ukrainians by spreading Russian propaganda. So it's totally wrong. Now at this moment, when you have Russian flag on a helmet, you had so many Russian flags in the audience, in everywhere around the tracks, around sport arenas, and when at the same time you try to violate my rights, when you try to implement some crazy crazy things on me. It really looks like that you're playing on the Russian side.
An 18-year-old man has been arrested after running towards the U.S. Capitol with a loaded weapon. His motive is currently being investigated by the police. The man was reportedly wearing a tactical vest and gloves and also had a Kevlar helmet and a gas mask in his vehicle. U.S. Capitol Police Chief Michael Sullivan said that the suspect parked near the Capitol just after noon before getting out and running towards the building. The assailant dropped the weapon when challenged by the Capitol Police. Spain joins regulators worldwide in cracking down on social media platforms such as X, TikTok and Meta. The move follows the alleged distribution of harmful and illegal AI-generated content involving children, with Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez introducing new regulations. Aisha Bashi has more on the intensifying scrutiny of big tech.
Today, our children are exposed to a space they were never meant to navigate alone.
The battle over artificial intelligence is intensifying across Europe, with Spain launching the latest probe against big tech.
X, Meta, and TikTok may be committing through the creation and dissemination of child pornography generated by their AI systems. These platforms are attacking the mental health, dignity, and rights of our sons and daughters. The state cannot allow it. The impunity of the giants must end.
The move places Spain at the forefront of a broader European push to curb harmful uses of generative AI, with Elon Musk's Grok increasingly treated as a political persona non grata.
We went into battle on that because I thought this is not good enough. We went into battle, we made the necessary steps, we threatened action, and we won that battle in relation to Grok, but we've got to do it with all AI bots, and we will do it.
Ireland's Data Protection Agency is also pursuing Grok, and in France, police recently raided the offices of the social media platform X as part of a year-long investigation into suspected algorithm abuse. Now, deepfakes aren't exactly a new phenomenon, but they are getting better and better, and governments need to act fast, even unilaterally.
I do remember the case of the Italian Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, who was actually deepfaked into a pornographic movie. And she did not wait for, European regulations. She instead introduced a very severe regulation in Italy tackling deepfaking other people, particularly with the purpose of putting them or embedding them into a pornographic type of content.
But this is not only a question of deepfakes. What irks governments all around the world is the scale of harm affecting children.
In 11 days, there have been 3 million AI-generated nude photos, many of them of minors.
And the debate is no longer just European. In the United States, a landmark lawsuit filed in California accuses Meta and YouTube of deliberately designing products they knew would addict children. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is set to testify.
With all these children that have been lost to social media harms, and it's just wrong. And this is a global problem. It's not just here in the US, it's UK, it's France, it's Germany. This is a global problem and things need to change.
Regulatory philosophies may differ, but governments on both sides of the Atlantic are making clear that child protection, transparency, and corporate responsibility are becoming central battlegrounds in the digital age. For TVP World, I'm Aisha Badja.
An international happily ever after in Poland. For the first time in 20 years, the percentage of international marriages nearly doubled in the country. For both men and women, Ukrainian partners seem to be a preferred choice. What are the factors behind this rise? Gabriela Jelonek has more.
More Poles than ever are getting married to foreigners. According to Statistics Poland, over 5,500 such marriages were conducted in Poland in 2024, unions in which one person is a Polish citizen and the other is a citizen of another country. Intercultural marriages now account for 4.1% of all marriages in Poland. This is the highest percentage in 20 years, nearly double the number from that time.
This change and this growth of the number of intercultural marriages in Poland is connected with the war in Ukraine, mainly Ukrainian women migrating to Poland. This is connected with the phenomenon known to us for like 20 years, opening borders, joining European Union.
Men and women were about equally likely to choose a partner from abroad, with Polish males making up 52% of the total. However, their partner choices differed. The vast majority of Polish men looked to Eastern Europe, specifically Ukraine, Belarus and Russia. While Ukrainian men also topped the charts for Polish females, gentlemen from other regions are also high in the ranking. The second top husband choice for Polish women were Brits, followed by Turks, Germans and Italians.
I'm Polish, married to an Italian Venetian man. Obviously, you get to speak immediately the language of your spouse and it's super easy to learn. Not necessarily your husband's going to learn your language since it's the most difficult language. The disadvantages, you will never be as funny as you are in your original language.
I have a Chilean wife whom I met during an Erasmus exchange in Spain. The biggest advantage of an international marriage? I'm a huge patriot, and it's wonderful to show my wife my own country. It's amazing what a wonderful history we have, and we often don't appreciate it. And I really learned that from her.
Despite a record-breaking 2024, transnational marriages are much more popular in other European countries. They make up nearly 35% of marriages in Switzerland, over 27% in Luxembourg, 21.7% in Austria, and 16.5% in Spain. Relationships across borders are no longer the exception. They are becoming a permanent element of the social landscape. Consequently, passports are becoming less of an obstacle and more often the beginning of a shared story. For TVP World, Gabriela Jelonek.
The River Seine has risen to dangerous levels, triggering flood alerts in Paris. Weeks of heavy rainfall and the passing of Storm Niels has already led to severe flooding in the southwest of the country.
Riverbanks in Paris have shrunk and some parts have even been closed to the public as the flood wave reached the French capital. Authorities say the water should recede in a few days, but in the southwest of the country, rainfall continues. Red alerts were introduced in 3 administrations. A state of emergency is set to be declared once the water retreats to facilitate fast-track insurance claims.
Polish exports of agricultural goods and food are soaring, totaling almost 60 billion euros last year, with the European Union serving as the country's largest customer. How long can Poland keep up this momentum? Maciej Wilowski has more in his latest report.
From butter to beef and fresh vegetables, Polish food is making its way to grocery shelves around the world in record quantities. The value of Polish agricultural and food exports hit an all-time high of 58.4 billion euros last year, an 8.6% increase compared to 2024, data from the National Support Center for Agriculture showed.
Polish food and food processing industry is really strong, and is strong because of the quality, of the food. The companies in these sectors are really very well managed.
The European Union is by far the biggest customer, with 75% of Polish food exports destined for EU member states like Germany and France. But a new trade deal between the EU and Mercosur, a bloc of South American countries which includes Brazil and Argentina, could crowd out some of Poland's exports to its EU partners.
The other side, the South American countries, they very much count on exports of the food products.
Under the deal, tariffs on roughly 90% of imports from Mercosur countries, including food products, are to be eliminated, with opponents fearing it could undermine domestic producers. And Polish farmers have been especially vocal in their opposition.
We cannot compete with them because they produce at a much cheaper cost, and they spray chemicals that have long been banned in Poland.
But on the other hand, the agreement with Mercosur could open up a new market for Poland's high-quality food products, one of several untapped markets for the country's exporters.
The exports of the Polish food products have great potential in Asia, have great potential, in Middle East, and also I can see the chance for placing Polish products under the agreement of Mercosur in South American countries.
With the quality and competitiveness of its products, Poland's agricultural sector has the means to capitalize on trade with Mercosur, spreading out increasingly beyond Europe. For TVP World, I'm Maciej Wilowski.
And that's all for World News right now, but do stay with us. There's lots more good stuff coming up this morning. Goodbye.